30 Mysterious Zen Stories from Zen Masters to Unlock Infinite Wisdom. Welcome back, everyone, to Mind Podcast. Reading and enjoying these small classic Zen stories will help you grasp the unique appeal of Zen thought in a natural and comfortable way. This will help you understand that although Zen is profound, its form is extremely simple and lively, which is said to penetrate straight to the heart without words. Each story in this book fully embodies the wisdom of Zen masters and Buddhist scriptures, containing countless true meanings of life, making it an excellent book for life enlightenment. 1. Zen Beyond Life and Death. Wang Tian was skilled in medicine, but was haunted by the deaths he witnessed. One day, he met a monk named Yun Shui and asked, "What is Zen?" Yun Shui replied, "It's hard to explain, but once you understand Zen, you will no longer fear death." Wang Tian then sought guidance from Zen master Nanyin. Nanyin said, "As a doctor, you must take good care of your patients. That is Zen." Wang Tian was skeptical and visited Nanyin 3 times, always receiving the same answer. On his 4th visit, Wang Tian complained, "You always tell me to take care of my patients. If that's Zen, I won't seek your advice anymore." Nanyin smiled and directed him to study the word mu, nothingness, from the Jiaozhou Mu Koan. For 2 years, Wang Tian struggled to understand it, and upon returning, Nanyin still said he hadn't achieved Zen. Another 1.5 years later, Wang Tian finally purified his mind and the fear of death dissipated. Mu became his truth. He excelled in caring for patients without knowing it, and no longer worried about death. Finally, Nanyin told him, "From forgetting oneself to having no self, that is the manifestation of a Zen mind." As a doctor who often dealt with dying patients, Wang Tian saw death frequently and was deeply troubled by it, affecting both others and himself. Nanyin wanted him to care for patients genuinely, as neglecting responsibility and compassion would not lead to Zen. From mindfulness to selflessness, from existence to non-existence, this is the Zen state of no death. Zen wisdom. Being distressed by life and death without understanding Zen means one fears death and abandons duties. Achieving a state of selflessness and no self can truly manifest the Zen mind. 2. Zen turning stone hard. Han Yu was one of the most adamant opponents of Buddhism. Emperor Xianzong of Tang revered Buddhism and invited the Buddha's relics to be worshipped in the palace. One night, a light shone in the palace, and everyone congratulated the emperor, except Han Yu, who said, "That light is from the dragon guardians, not from the Buddha." He insulted Buddhism and was demoted to a minor official in Chaozhou. In Chaozhou, Zen master Da Dian was highly respected. Han Yu visited him with a skeptical attitude. Upon arrival, Da Dian was in meditation, and Han Yu had to wait a long time. The attendant, seeing Han Yu's impatience, struck a bell 3 times beside Da Dian and whispered, "Calm before wisdom," meaning Da Dian's Zen was affecting Han Yu's arrogance, but wisdom was needed to remove his stubbornness. Han Yu left in frustration. Later, Han Yu returned and asked, "How old are you, master?" Da Dian, counting prayer beads, replied, "How many?" Han Yu, confused, said, "I don't know." Days later, Han Yu returned and asked a young monk the same question, who responded by clicking his tongue 3 times. Han Yu finally realized Buddhism is not dualistic but unified. Han Yu's question about age was from a worldly perspective of measuring time. Time is endless, without beginning or end, so how can it be measured? The clicks symbolize life's endless cycles and the need to understand one's eternal essence, seeing beyond physical reality to find eternal truth in the universe. Han Yu's attitude towards Buddhism changed, and he became friends with Da Dian, often discussing Zen. Before leaving Chaozhou, he wrote a poem for Da Dian, illustrating Zen's profound ability to transform and enlighten. Zen wisdom. Zen can make stone nod and turn steel into water. Such is the power of Zen. 3. Boundless Zen Power. Zen master Dao Shu of Shouzhou, born Wenxi in Tangzhou, studied scriptures from a young age. At 50, he met the high monk Yu Yu and ordained under Mingyue Shanhui Wen. Dao Shu later built a monastery near a Taoist temple. The Taoists harassed the monks daily with illusions of demons and storms, driving away young monks. Yet Dao Shu stayed for over 10 years unaffected. Eventually, the Taoists exhausted their tricks and left. When asked how he overcame them, Dao Shu said, "I defeated them with nothingness." "Nothingness?" they asked. Dao Shu explained, "Their powers are limited, finite, and constrained. while my power of nothingness is infinite and boundless. The unchanging defeats the ever-changing. Zen wisdom, simplifying complexity, preferring simplicity over materialism, often allows one to understand life's true meanings. In today's materialistic society, simplifying things enables one to live freely and contentedly. For, as if it were not nothingness, an old woman was often irritated by trivial matters. One day, she went to see a Zen master to talk about Zen. After listening to her, the Zen master took her to the meditation room, made a fuss, and left. The old woman, furious, cursed loudly for a long time, but the Zen master ignored her. She then began to plead, but the Zen master still paid no attention. Finally, the old woman fell silent. The Zen master asked from outside the door, "Are you still angry?" She replied, "I'm just angry at myself. Why did I come to this wretched place to suffer in the dark? If you can't even forgive yourself, how can you calm the waters in your heart?" The Zen master said, brushing off his sleeves as he left. After a while, the Zen master asked again, "Are you still angry?" She replied, "No, I'm not angry." "Why not?" "Because there's no point in being angry." The Zen master left again. When he returned for the third time, the old woman said, "I'm not angry anymore because it's not worth it." The Zen master laughed. "You still know what is worth it and what is not, so there is still a root of anger in your heart." When the Zen master stood outside the door, the old woman asked, "Master, what is anger?" The Zen master poured out the tea in his cup onto the ground. The old woman saw this and suddenly realized, bowing to thank the master before leaving. Life is like the tea in the Zen master's cup, mixed with mud in an instant, so short-lived. Trivial matters in life are not worth spending time on being angry. In life, trivial matters should not be contested, for endless competition only leads to no clear winner. Zen wisdom, desiring what cannot be attained is futile. One must stop seeking and clear the mind. In doing so, everything is as if it were nothingness, but not truly void. It is all emptiness. 5. Mother leading a donkey for her daughter. Practicing Zen involves not only sitting meditation, but also humbly learning from the stories of Zen patriarchs. These stories teach how they attained enlightenment and how they instructed their disciples in Zen practices, daily life attitudes, words, actions, and ways of considering matters. Zen master Shoshan Jingnian, died 993, was a highly respected monk of the Song dynasty. One day a monk asked him, "What is Buddha?" The Zen master replied, "A newlywed daughter rides a donkey while the mother-in-law leads it." The master meant that the newlywed daughter, not long at her husband's home, sits on the donkey while her mother-in-law holds the reins and leads the way home. This answer contradicts common sense and traditional Chinese filial piety. If interpreted that the daughter is too tired or pregnant and the mother-in-law, out of love, lets her ride the donkey, it would make sense and be heartwarming. Zen wisdom. Zen frees the heart from societal bonds, allowing free and independent thinking. Understanding and resolving issues from different perspectives may yield unexpected results. Zen is freedom. One day, a heavy rainstorm hit the mountain, with raindrops as big as beans hitting the old roof tiles. Soon, the main hall began to leak. "Quick, get something to catch the water," Zen master Huishuan shouted. But the leaking was so severe, it seemed the poor temple didn't even have a bucket. Is there truly nothing to catch the water? The disciples scrambled around but found nothing suitable. Suddenly, a young monk ran out with a bamboo basket. Using a bamboo basket to catch water? Such an absurd act. Of course, it couldn't solve the problem. However, afterward, Zen master Huishuan highly praised the young monk and scolded the disciples who were hastily moving furniture. The young monk was praised because he did not rely on logical reasoning but quickly grabbed the bamboo basket. For him, the idea that a bamboo basket can't catch water did not exist in his mind. Compared to saying it was an abnormal act, it is better to say he was not enslaved by the limits of pure knowledge. Therefore, he was free. Zen values this freedom the most, often requiring breaking free from conventional thinking. However, saying break free from conventional thinking should not be bound by this statement. Zen is absolute freedom, unconstrained by forms like sitting meditation. The spirit that fits freedom is the most important. Zen wisdom, adhering strictly to the form of sitting meditation can lose the true spirit of Zen. The basic spirit of Zen is freedom. If one can't attain enlightenment through sitting meditation, then it's better not to sit. 7 can't be taken away. A Zen master visited a wealthy man's house. After a grand reception, the host wanted to give a valuable gift to the Zen master. He led the Zen master to a chest full of treasures. The master asked, "Are all these yours?" The host proudly replied, "Yes." The Zen master said, "Too little." The host, surprised, asked, "Master, do you have more?" The master replied, "I have much more than you immeasurable." The host asked, "Where?" The Zen master said, "Look, you have so many treasures, but don't dare to wear them for fear of being robbed, nor leave them at home for fear of theft. You lock them in a chest, visit them once a week, and touch them as if they are yours. That's too simple. I visit jewelry stores, ask them to take out the treasures, touch them, and they are mine. What's the difference?" The Zen master continued, "People often get confused about this. They don't know how to use their wealth for good deeds and real merit, which can be taken along. The Buddha said sentient beings are ignorant and deluded for this reason." The host realized the truth. As the saying goes, wealth can't be taken when alive and can't be brought when dead. Zen teaches, wealth should not be accumulated but dispersed. The more you give away, the more you receive. Accumulating it becomes a disease, turning into evil. Zen wisdom. Learning Zen aims to expand wisdom and enlightenment, understanding the true nature of worldly things. Everything in the world is illusory, as the Buddha said. Nothing can be taken, only karma follows. Natural mind. Junquan asked Zen master Shenhui, "What is the Tao?" The master replied, "The Tao is nameless." Junquan asked again, "Since the Tao has no name, why call it the Tao?" The master answered, "The Tao itself says nothing. It's called the Tao just to provide an answer." Junquan continued, "If the Tao is a false name, is namelessness true?" The master replied, "Not true either." Junquan asked, "Since it's neither named nor true, why say the nameless is the Tao?" The master smiled, "These explanations are only because you asked. If there were no questions, nothing would be said. Life is Zen, and Zen is life. The state of Zen is self-control, liberation, and peace. Zen brings the source of happiness, understanding the true meaning of Zen, and learning to live peacefully, which allows grasping the essence of life. In a complex society with excessive material desires, simplifying complexity enables entering and exiting freely and living freely and comfortably. Zen wisdom. Zen does not tolerate divided hearts. True Zen is natural, unintentional action. Not attaching to logic or things is the true experience of Zen. 9. Zen in the heart. Zen emphasizes formlessness as its fundamental teaching. Form refers to the appearance and state of things, phenomena, as well as symbols and concepts in the process of cognition. Buddhist teachings suggest that any existence, once grasped in a certain form, is distorted. The essence of existence can only be understood, not expressed, so everything is emptiness. Somgon Ti-Chu visited the famous master Du Yuan at Shangguo Temple. To express his enlightenment, he proudly told Du Yuan, "Mind, Buddha, and sentient beings are all empty. The true nature of phenomena is emptiness, no enlightenment, no delusion, no sate, no ordinary being, no killing, no receiving." At that moment, Du Yuan was smoking and didn't respond. Suddenly, he picked up his pipe and struck Somgon Ti-Chu, causing him to become furious. Du Yuan asked, "If everything is empty, why are you angry?" Zen says, standing on a high mountain and walking in the deep sea. Humility is a basic element in solving problems. If one cannot fully understand oneself and tries to show off, one cannot accept wisdom. Therefore, to become truly wise, one must be humble. Zen wisdom. The attitude of the heart determines everything. Talking about the heart aims to solve problems. If the heart's problems are resolved, the issues arising from the heart's confusion will no longer cause endless suffering and sorrow for humanity. 10. All things have birth and death. There was a very clever young monk. His teacher had a very precious teacup, a rare treasure in the world. The young monk accidentally broke it and felt extremely anxious. Just then he heard his teacher's footsteps and quickly hid the broken cup behind his back. As his teacher walked by, the young monk suddenly asked, "Why do people have to die?" His teacher replied, "It's natural. All things in the world have birth and death." At that moment, the young monk brought out the broken cup and said, "Your teacup has reached its time of death." Shenjia has a famous verse, Spring has flowers, summer has breezes, autumn has the bright moon, winter has snow. If useless things do not trouble your mind, every season is a good season. If in our lives we no longer worry about the sacrifices of external things, no longer destroy our precious happiness by comparing ourselves with others, no longer experience the highs and lows due to the colorful forms of joys and sorrows in life, then what reason do we have not to be happy and content? Zen wisdom. Zen pursues the natural essence, unadorned, seeing life as a state of natural movement. Perceive the world and life's gifts with an original heart. 11. Everything is in accordance. A wealthy man invited Zen Master Tianya to write a blessing for the longevity and prosperity of his family, to keep as a family heirloom for generations. Zen Master Tianya took out a large piece of paper and wrote, "Father dies, son dies, grandson dies." The wealthy man was suddenly enraged, saying, "I invited you to write a blessing for my family's eternal happiness. Why are you joking?" "I'm not joking," Tianya explained. "If your son dies before you, you will be extremely sorrowful. If your grandson dies before you, you and your son will be heartbroken. If your family members all die in the order I wrote, then you are enjoying the full span of life. I believe that is true prosperity." Zen Buddhism teaches that, whether we perceive it or not, human existence cannot be separated from nature. The more a person feels their ego, striving for an impossible perfection, the more they violently distance themselves from the center of existence. Therefore, in work, everything has cause and effect, and everything is natural. Everything is in accordance, so why suffer in pursuit of unattainable perfection? Zen wisdom. Zen requires a clear mind and the cultivation of character, letting everything follow its natural course without adhering to any specific form. As long as one's heart is good, actions and words follow the heart, then practices like ordination, precepts, celibacy, and venerating Buddha are unnecessary. 12. Sudden enlightenment of the heart. Zen teaches that the conflict between the subjective and the objective is the root of difficulty and suffering. The external objective environment is eternally unchanging, but the real difficulty lies in one's own subjective world. To eradicate it, one must let go of attachments and find peace of mind. A monk asked Zen Master Yaoshan, "How can I not be confused by external conditions?" Master Yaoshan replied, "What does the external environment have to do with you? How can it trouble you?" The monk said, "That is truly what I cannot understand." Yaoshan said, "In fact, it is you who is confusing yourself." Zen requires human enlightenment and experience. It is the inner mystery of humans and the extension of human thinking to a higher level. Even if one does not believe in Buddha, one can practice Zen in life, realizing the joy of life, subtly understanding and knowing one's heart. In fact, Zen is not something too mysterious. Zen ideas are everywhere in life. Rely on oneself to feel, understand, and grasp. Zen wisdom. As it is said, leisurely and free, nothing to do, sleeping until the sun rises in the east window. Everything observed in tranquility is self-satisfied, in every season, prosperity with all. The Tao connects heaven and earth beyond form, entering the ever-changing wind and clouds. Wealth and glory do not corrupt, poverty and humility are joyous. To reach this point is to be truly heroic. Compassion is not easy. As the year was ending, Zen Master Fogwang was on a pilgrimage and returned to the Beihai temple of his disciple Pingtong to celebrate the new year. The temple was dark when he arrived. He knocked on the door but received no answer, thinking Pingtong might not be back yet. He sat cross-legged in meditation outside the temple, waiting. After a while, his attendant couldn't bear it anymore and climbed over the wall, finding an unlocked door inside. The attendant opened it and invited the Zen Master in. After entering, Zen Master Fogwang told the attendant, "Lock all the doors again." After about 2 incense sticks' time, Pingtong finally returned. He tried to unlock the door but couldn't. He muttered, "Strange, this key is right, why won't it open? Perhaps the door hasn't been used for too long and is rusted shut." Pingtong tried again, but the door wouldn't budge. He had no choice but to climb in through a small side door. Just as he stuck his head inside, a deep voice asked, "Who are you? Why are you climbing over the door?" Pingtong was shocked, thinking he had entered the wrong house. Zen Master Fogwang frightened his disciple, then ordered the attendant to open the door and invite Pingtong in. When Ping Tong saw it was his master, he quickly bowed and said, "Master, just now your voice like a lion's roar terrified me, making me unsure who is the master and who is the guest." Zen wisdom. Compassion is not easy. In fact, if we put ourselves in others' shoes, compassion becomes easier. In Zen, enlightenment comes from not distinguishing oneself from others. This transcends the sea of birth and death. 14. The language of fingers. Young novice monk Namlai watched his senior monks going to the Zen hall for meditation every day, and he desired to join them. Gathering his courage, he asked Zen Master Molu for permission to join. Master Molu said, "Learning Zen requires dedication and seriousness. No playing around. At your young age, it's not suitable yet. Wait until you're older." Namlai, persistent, said, "Master, I am determined and will not give up. Please give me a chance." Reluctantly, Master Molu agreed, saying, "Listen carefully. You can hear the sound of 2 hands clapping. Now go to the Zen hall and find the sound of 1 hand clapping." Namlai bowed and went to the hall, contemplating the problem. He heard a sound from the window and joyfully thought he had understood. He rushed to Master Molu to report the sound. Master Molu said, "That's not it. That's not the language of the hand." Namlai thought perhaps it needed to be something different. He moved far away and pondered the language of the hand. Hearing the sound of dripping water, he ran to Master Molu and mimicked the sound. Master Molu said, "That's the sound of dripping water, not the language of the hand. Keep trying." Namlai continued his efforts, listening for the sound of the hand, to no avail. Every day he heard the wind, cicadas, insects, and owls. Over 3 years he visited Master Molu dozens of times, each time rejected. What is the language of the hand? Focused on Zen, he eventually fell into true meditation, transcending all sounds. Finally, Namlai realized, worldly sounds are impermanent. Only the soundless language of the hand is the true language of the hand. The famous koan by Zen Master Bayan involves 2 fingers creating a sound, but for a Zen practitioner, how can one hear the sound of a hand without friction? The purpose of Master Bayan's koan is to lead practitioners into the indistinguishable world. Bayan also used the koan Jiao's No from the 5th Patriarch Fayan and the Great Master Dahui for beginners. However, No is difficult to grasp and leads to doubt. Thus, the hand koan encourages determination, easily leading to enlightenment. After instructing young Namlai in the method of enlightenment, Master Molu's teaching bore fruit. Zen wisdom. The existence of a hand is natural. Even in absolute silence, a person with a Zen heart can hear the silent sound, which is the language of the hand. In a noisy world, why can't we hear anything? 15. The bell ringer. The bell, chung, is a signal in Buddhist temples and monasteries. The morning bell rings rapidly at first and then slowly, waking everyone up and reminding them not to continue sleeping after a long night. The evening bell rings slowly at first and then rapidly, signaling everyone to put things down and rest. Therefore, a day's activities in the temple start and end with the sound of the bell. One day, Zen Master Dish Tuong woke up from meditation just as the bell rang. He listened attentively, and after the bell stopped, he couldn't help but call his attendant and ask, "Who was on bell duty this morning?" The attendant replied, "It was a new novice monk." So, Zen Master Dish Tuong asked the attendant to call the novice monk over and asked, "What were you thinking when you rang the bell this morning?" The novice monk, not knowing why the master was asking, replied, "Nothing special. I was just ringing the bell because it was my duty." Zen Master Dish Tuong said, "Not necessarily. When you rang the bell, you must have had something in mind. The sound of the bell today was extraordinarily clear and noble, which must have come from someone with a sincere and upright heart." The novice monk thought for a while and then said, "Master, in fact, before I became a monk, my teacher always warned me that when ringing the bell, I should think of the bell as Buddha. I should be reverent and pure, treating the bell with the same respect as Buddha, ringing it with a meditative heart and a sincere mind." Hearing this, Zen Master Dish Tuong was very pleased and reminded him, "In the future, handle everything with the same meditative heart as when you rang the bell this morning." This novice monk, trained from a young age to be respectful and careful, not only in ringing the bell but in everything he did, always remembered the teachings of his teacher Tich Do and Zen Master Dich Thuong. He maintained the meditative heart of the bell ringer and later became the Zen master Sam Dien Ngo. Zen wisdom. One day as a monk, one day ringing the bell. To be a good monk, you must ring the bell earnestly. Simple tasks often contain profound truths. 16. The mind like a bright mirror. The fifth patriarch of Zen, Zen master Homdren, announced that he would pass on his robe and bowl, selecting a successor by asking everyone to express their understanding. At that time, a monk named Shenshu, who was the first seat, wrote a verse on the wall. The body is the Bodhi tree, the mind like a bright mirror stand. Time and again brush it clean, and let no dust alight. A worker in the rice mill saw Shenshu's verse and wrote his own. Bodhi is originally not a tree, nor is the bright mirror a stand. Since originally there is not a single thing, where could any dust alight? This worker later inherited the robe and bowl, becoming the sixth patriarch of Zen, Huining. Zen master Huining said, Bodhi is originally not a tree, nor is the bright mirror a stand. Since originally there is not a single thing, where could any dust alight? Of course, the realm of Zen master Huining is not something ordinary people can reach. However, Shenshu's verse, the body is the Bodhi tree, the mind like a bright mirror stand. Time and again brush it clean, and let no dust alight, means that the essence of sentient beings is a tree of enlightened wisdom, and their mind is like a bright mirror stand. One must constantly clean it, not allowing dust to obscure its light. Perhaps this is more suitable for ordinary people. Living in a complex modern society where fame and profit come and go, this verse is truly a good remedy for overcoming personal troubles and achieving liberation. Zen wisdom. Only by brushing it clean time and again and letting no dust alight can we maintain a calm heart, think clearly, see through things, be able to pick up and put down, conduct ourselves clearly, and live generously without being disturbed by slander or fame. 10 regrets. A student monk asked Zen master Vanku, every time I do something, I often regret it afterward. Master, why do I have so many regrets? Zen master Vanku replied, listen to my 10 regrets. 1. Regret not learning from a good teacher. 2. Regret not associating with virtuous people. 3. Regret not being filial to parents. 4. Regret not being loyal to one's master. 5. Regret not doing righteous deeds. 6. Regret not saving those in danger. Regret not giving to charity when wealthy. 8. Regret not loving one's country. 9. Regret not believing in cause and effect. 10. Regret not practicing the way. Which of these regrets do you have? The student monk scratched his head and said, Master, it seems I have all these regrets. Zen master Vanku said, since you know they are problems, you must remedy them quickly. The student monk asked, I don't know how to remedy them, so I implore you to enlighten me with your compassion. Zen master Vanku enlightened him. Just change all the knots in these 10 regrets to must, such as must learn from a good teacher, must associate with virtuous people, must be filial to parents, must be loyal to one's master, must do righteous deeds, must save those in danger, must give to charity when wealthy, must love one's country, must believe in cause and effect, must practice the way. This remedy has only one word, but you must diligently take it. Zen wisdom. The sutra says, Bodhisattvas fear causes, sentient beings fear results. Sentient beings often regret when retribution comes, but if they affirm what should be done in advance, they will not regret it later. 18 Offerings of karma. When the old abbot distributed the fruits offered on the Buddha's altar to the monks, some monks did not receive any. A monk asked, why didn't I receive any of the offerings? The abbot replied, on the 3rd day of the 1st month, it snowed heavily, and you got up late and didn't help shovel the snow. On the 3rd day of the 2nd month, you went out to beg for alms and came back empty-handed and early. Another year, during the old abbot's 50th anniversary, the same monk asked again, why didn't I receive any of the offerings? The abbot said, you haven't been dedicated to the new monks, only caring about your own cultivation. You gave perfunctory answers to a donor's questions, disappointing their trust and respect, lacking the qualities of a true monk. Later, the monks in the temple started calling the offerings karma fruits. Seeking karma fruits is also a kind of sad attachment. It's difficult to be satisfied and thus leads to distress. The flaw of humans is that it's easy to see others' faults, but difficult to see one's own. People prefer to face others' problems rather than their own. The reason they can't change themselves is that they don't want to change. People often seek to understand issues that don't relate to themselves, bringing on unnecessary worries and blaming others and the heavens. If one can handle things clearly, they will naturally resolve their own problems. Zen wisdom. Karma and retribution are not as simple as waiting under a tree for the shade, as you might imagine. Life and death cycle, good and evil, are distinct, and ultimately there is retribution. 19 pearls sewn into the robe. Zen stories often surprise people, transcending common logic. Among ancient Chinese Zen stories, there is a thought-provoking tale. In the past, a poor man visited a relative and was warmly welcomed with food and drink. He got drunk and fell asleep on a chair. The relative, needing to leave urgently, saw the poor man passed out and sewed extremely valuable jewels into his robe before leaving in a hurry. The poor man, completely drunk, was unaware of this. When he woke up, he simply got up and left. He remained poor, struggling through life, oblivious to the precious jewels in his robe. Later, by chance, he encountered his relative again. The relative, seeing his ragged appearance, couldn't help but exclaim, "You are truly a fool. Why have you wasted so much effort on appearance? I thought your life was comfortable because when you visited me, I sewed extremely valuable jewels into your robe, assuming you would become wealthy. But you've remained unaware and still struggle for food and clothing." 20. Helping others and helping one's heart. A one-armed beggar once came to ask for alms at a temple. The abbot pointed to a pile of bricks in front of the temple and said to the beggar, "Help me move these bricks to the back of the temple." The beggar was annoyed and said, "I only have one arm, how can I move them? If you don't want to give me anything, just say so instead of mocking me." The abbot, without a word, picked up a brick with one hand and said, "This kind of work can be done with one hand." The beggar, left with no choice, moved the bricks one by one with his single arm. It took him 2 hours to finish the task. The abbot then gave him some silver coins. The beggar gratefully said, "Thank you, master." The abbot replied, "Don't thank me, this is the money you earned yourself." The beggar said, "I will never forget you." He bowed respectfully and went on his way. Many days later, another beggar came to the temple. The abbot led him to the back and pointed to a pile of bricks, saying, "Move these bricks to the front of the temple, and I will give you some money." However, this beggar, with 2 healthy arms, walked away without bothering. A disciple, puzzled, asked the abbot, "Last time you asked a beggar to move bricks from the front to the back, and this time you asked another to move bricks from the back to the front. Do you really want the bricks moved or not?" The abbot said to the disciple, "Whether the bricks are placed in front or in the back doesn't matter. What matters is that moving or not moving the bricks is different for the beggars." Several years later, a well-dressed man with an air of distinction visited the temple. He had only one arm and turned out to be the beggar who had moved the bricks with one arm years before. After being asked by the abbot to move the bricks, he found his self-worth, and through his efforts, he eventually succeeded in life. The 2-armed beggar, however, was still begging in the mountains. Self-respect changes fate, and actions can lead to great achievements. Helping others also means helping their hearts, with genuine compassion. 21 Salt and soy sauce in life. Zen Master Baijan, a disciple of Zen Master Mazu Daoyi, was once given 3 jars of soy sauce by his master. After receiving the jars, Baijan gathered everyone and said, "These are gifts from Master Daoyi. If any of you achieve enlightenment, do not break the jars. If none of you can achieve enlightenment, then break them." The disciples looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Seeing no one respond, Baijan smashed all 3 jars with a stick. When the attendant returned to Mazu, Mazu asked, "Did you deliver the soy sauce?" The attendant replied, "Yes, I did." Mazu then asked, "What did Baijan say or do after receiving the soy sauce?" The attendant replied, "Baijan gathered everyone, and since no one achieved enlightenment, he smashed all the jars." Mazu laughed heartily and praised, "That rascal did well." Later, Mazu gave Baijan a mouthpiece, hoping he would occasionally write letters about his progress. Baijan sincerely reported in a letter, "Master, thank you for your concern. Since I smashed the jars, I have never run out of soy sauce for the past 30 years. This indicated that their Zen teachings lacked nothing, and Mazu was very pleased, writing 8 characters for Baijian. Since nothing is lacking, share with others. Eventually, Mazu founded the Zen forest monasteries, and Baijian established the pure rules, which have been passed down through generations in Chinese monasteries. Zen wisdom, Zen masters interact with each other in a worldly manner, but their exchanges carry deeper meanings. Soy sauce, a daily necessity, symbolizes that Zen practice should integrate with daily life, not be pursued blindly apart from it. 22. Zen meditation is inner strength. Zen and Pure Land Buddhism are 2 major schools within Buddhism, fundamentally opposing each other. Zen advocates sudden enlightenment and self-power to achieve Buddhahood, while Pure Land Buddhism emphasizes achieving Buddhahood through religious rituals and other power. Both schools often criticize each other. However, interesting stories arise from both. Zen master Wuhua, deep in the valley, devoted himself to Zen meditation for over 20 years, supported by a mother and son. Not yet enlightened, he wanted to leave the mountain to seek a master. The mother and son asked him to stay a few more days to make a robe for him. While sewing, they chanted the name of Amitabha Buddha with each stitch, also including 4 silver coins in the robe for travel expenses. That night, Wuhua was meditating when a green-clad youth appeared with a large lotus flower, inviting him to ascend it. Thinking it was a demonic illusion, as he had not practiced Pure Land methods, Wuhua ignored it. The youth insisted, but Wuhua placed a small bell on the lotus and ignored it. The youth and his companions left. The next morning, the mother and son brought a small bell, saying it was found in their dead horse's stomach. Wuhua, realizing the profundity, composed a verse and left, returning the robe and silver coins. He realized the need for deep inner strength in Zen meditation. Zen wisdom. Inner strength is the endurance of one's will, complemented by courage. The greater one's inner strength, the more one can remain calm amidst the world's temptations. 23. Reverence in seeking the Buddha. When Zen Master Tunggyat visited Zen Master Tengto in Muthang, he showed immense respect and courtesy. Once, he was given some lychees by another person and offered them through the window of Zen Master Tengto's room, politely saying, "Elder, these are lychees from my home in Jiangxi. Please enjoy them." Tengto was delighted to receive the lychees inside. "Since my late master passed away, I haven't had these fruits in a long time." Tunggyat asked, "Who was the great monk that was your master?" Tengto replied, "Zen Master Tumen. I served him for 13 years. Astonished, Tunggyat exclaimed, "You served a great monk for 13 years and did not receive any direct teachings?" Then he offered all the lychees in his hands to Elder Tengto. Tengto, deeply moved, said, "I am not fortunate. My master instructed me never to reveal this to anyone. But seeing your sincerity today, and due to the connection through these lychees, I will tell you his name." He then shared his heartfelt thoughts with Zen Master Tunggyat, who upon receiving guidance said, "There are both demons and Buddhas in this world. When you wish to enter the realm of the Buddha, you must not fall into the realm of demons." After receiving approval, Tunggyat was further instructed by Tengto, "Today, I have revealed this truth to you, allowing you great freedom, but remember not to say you inherited it from me. Chentink Kukvan is your true teacher." This story became a well-regarded teaching in the Zen community. Zen wisdom. To learn the way of the Buddha, first establish connections. The connection through lychees can lead to enlightenment. Buddhism is sought through reverence. Gratitude for even a small favor, like the lychee, can lead to the breaking of spiritual barriers. 24. Foreseeing and Dreaming. One day, Zen Master Huet Trung of Namdung led his disciples in chanting scriptures and then shared a story with them. Long ago, 2 poor men made a living by selling milk. Every day they carried milk jars on their heads, hawking their goods everywhere. One day, during heavy rain, the roads were muddy and slippery. One of them, being somewhat wise, thought, "Today the rain is heavy and the road is slippery. If I fall and break the jar, all my milk will spill, and I will lose my livelihood." So he churned the milk into butter first, minimizing potential loss. The other, lacking foresight, ignored the bad weather and set out with his milk jars. Both men eventually slipped and fell. One wept bitterly on the ground while the other remained calm. A passerby asked, Didn't both of you fall? Your milk jars are broken and the losses should be similar. Why is one of you crying while the other seems untroubled? One man said, I hadn't churned my milk into butter, so today's fall ruined my livelihood. How can I not cry? The other said, I had already churned my milk into butter, so the loss is bearable and doesn't bother me much. The passerby understood and said to himself, the difference between wisdom and foolishness is clear. Those who do not plan for the future will face near-term sorrow. Zen wisdom. The jar represents our body, the milk our life's possessions, and the butter the merit of our actions. The breaking of the jar symbolizes the aging and death of the human body. When one dies, worldly possessions dissolve just as milk does when spilled. 25. Everything has a heart. When Zen Master Baothong first followed Zen Master Thất Haitien, Thất asked, where is your heart? Baothong replied, it is the one who sees and speaks. Thất disagreed, saying, having vision and speech is the deluded mind. There is a true heart beyond words that you do not see. Embarrassed, Baothong pondered day and night, questioning what his true heart was. After 10 days, he returned to Thất, claiming he now knew what his heart was. Thất asked, what is your heart? Baothong answered, raising my eyebrows and blinking. Thất then challenged him, show me your heart without these actions. Baothong responded, if so, then there is no heart that can be shown. Thất said firmly, everything has a heart. To say there is no heart is blasphemy. Seeing, hearing, perceiving, and knowing are deluded minds. Without using the heart, how can one achieve enlightenment? Finally, Baothong attained great enlightenment. Why do Zen masters often say that the heart of no mind is the Zen heart? Because any heart is a deluded heart, fluctuating between heaven and hell, endlessly. If a Zen practitioner can settle their heart in the realm of no mind, they can then truly arise from nowhere and let the heart live. Zen wisdom. The heart should avoid all forms, whether textual, linguistic, or physical actions like raising eyebrows or blinking. One must also avoid the deluded heart. Talking about the heart's form is incorrect, and saying it doesn't exist is also wrong. As Whitman said, neither good nor evil, where is the place for the original face? 26. The Zen master plants rice seedlings. One day, after chanting Buddhist scriptures with his disciples, a Zen master said, reading 10,000 books is not enough. You must also travel 10,000 miles. Reading scriptures alone is not sufficient. Come, let us plant rice seedlings. Planting rice seedlings seems simple, but the disciples competed to work in the fields. However, their rows were crooked and uneven, while the Zen master's rows were perfectly straight. Curious, the disciples asked, Master, what is your secret to planting such straight rows? The Zen master laughed and said, it's very simple. When you plant, focus your eyes on a fixed point, and you will be able to plant straight. The disciples eagerly followed his advice, but still ended up with crooked rows. They reported back, Master, we did as you said but couldn't plant straight rows. Did you focus on a fixed point? He asked. Yes, we focused on the cow grazing by the field. It was a large, clear target. They replied. The master explained, the cow moves while eating, and by focusing on it, your rows will be crooked. You should focus on the big tree by the field, an immovable target. Following his guidance, the disciples managed to plant quickly and straightly. In life, how can we avoid detours? The key is to set clear goals and move towards them in the most efficient way. In any process, minimizing cost is crucial. Thus, having distant, significant goals is vital for good work. Goals provide direction and are the shortcut to success. 27. Master Thất and the Thief. Zen Master Thất was a highly respected monk, known for his teachings and daily meditation in the Buddha Hall. One midnight, while Master Thất was meditating with his eyes closed, a thief broke in, brandishing a sharp knife. Give me all the money in the safe or I'll kill you, the thief demanded. The money is in the drawer. There's none in the safe, Master Thất calmly replied. Take what you need, but leave some behind as I need it for food tomorrow. Surprised by the ease of his theft, the thief arrogantly remarked, You know your place, old monk. Taking so much without even a word of thanks, the old monk suddenly remarked. Don't be too greedy, leave some for others. Thank you, the thief muttered, feeling unsettled, as he had never encountered such a situation. He hesitated, then left some money behind before departing. Later, the thief was caught by the authorities. During his confession, he mentioned the theft at Master Thăt's temple, so the officers took him there to confront the master. "Did this thief rob you a few days ago?" the officer asked. "He didn't rob me. I gave him the money," Master Thăt replied. "He even thanked me before leaving." Moved by Master Thăt's compassion, the thief wept and knelt before him, pleading to be accepted as a disciple. Master Thăt initially refused, but after the thief remained kneeling for 3 days, he finally agreed to take him in. The thief in this story was cleansed by the master's kindness, allowing the seed of goodness deep within his heart to grow. What could deter his sincere heart after kneeling for 3 days? How could it not be moved? 28 Zen Adapting to circumstances. A young monk asked his master, "Master, what is good and what is evil? How should I choose?" The Zen master replied, "Good and evil reside in the human heart. Only through continuous self-cultivation and detachment can one's true nature be revealed." The young monk remained puzzled, so the master shared a story. 2 men left home to seek work and earn money to support their families. On their journey, they discovered a forest of wild thorns. They decided to cut and sell the thorns. Carrying a load of thorns, they continued until they found a pile of shells and silk. One man dropped his thorns to pick up the shells and silk. Later, they discovered a pile of unclaimed silver. The man carrying the shells and silk switched to the silver. The other continued with his thorns. Soon, they came upon a pile of unclaimed gold. The man with the silver told his friend, "Look, there's a pile of gold. Why not drop the thorns and take the valuable gold? We'll become wealthy." The man with the thorns stubbornly replied, "I've carried these thorns for so long, I won't give them up now. If you want the gold, take it yourself." The silver-carrying man thought his friend was foolish and tried to grab the thorns, but the stubborn man clung to his thorns, refusing to let go. The silver-carrying man, unable to convince his friend, took the gold and went home. His father praised him, saying, "You are wise to bring back so much gold. We can now live comfortably and even make offerings to monks and Brahmins for future blessings." The stubborn man returned home with his thorns. His parents were furious, scolding him for his foolishness. "How could you bring back these worthless thorns? Do you think they can feed us?" Greed for wealth and abandoning old for new are not inherently wrong, but one must consider the reason. Both men left home to support their families. If one remains stubborn, not only failing to support their family but also becoming a laughingstock, the original purpose of the journey is lost. Zen wisdom. Good and evil coexist within a person. Do not ignore small acts of goodness or commit small acts of evil. Good deeds are rewarded and evil deeds are punished. It's not that there are no consequences, but the time has not yet come. 29 Sin from the heart. A layman strolling by a river saw a ferryman pushing his boat from the sandbank into the water, preparing to ferry passengers across. Just then, a Zen master passed by, and the layman hurried up to him, bowing respectfully and asking, "Master, just now the ferryman pushed his boat into the river, killing many shrimp, crabs, and shellfish on the sandbank. Whose sin is this, the ferryman's or the passengers?" Without hesitation, the Zen master replied, "It is neither the sin of the ferryman nor the passengers." The layman, confused and doubtful, asked, "If it is neither of them, then whose sin is it?" The Zen master, with wide open eyes, loudly declared, "It is your sin." Though Buddhism teaches the 6 realms of existence, it centers on the human standpoint. Truth cannot always be bluntly stated, and phenomena cannot always be fully explained. The ferryman earns a living by ferrying passengers, and the passengers travel for their purposes. Crabs and other creatures scurry away to avoid being crushed. Whose sin is this? It is none of theirs, as all acted without malice. Sin arises from a heart devoid of intent. If the heart forgets, the sin is gone. Without intent, there can be no sin. Any sin that exists is a sin of unintentional actions. The layman, stirring trouble from nothing, was rightly chastised by the Zen master. Zen wisdom. The world constantly witnesses countless sins, big and small, but most are unintentional. While we cannot change the world, we can change ourselves, facing everything with compassion and wisdom. 30 Burning the books. Zen Master Vonan was once a vagabond before being enlightened by Zen Master Nothingness, eventually becoming a respected Zen master himself. He had only one successor, named Qing-Tu. When Qing-Tu finished his studies, Vonan called him and said, "I have a book, passed down for 7 generations. I believe you have the wisdom to inherit it. Guard it well." "This book is so precious, you should keep it yourself," Qing-Tu insisted. Vonan, angered, said, "I entrust this book to you to pass down the Buddhist teachings. I have only you as my disciple. Why won't you accept it?" Qing-Tu explained, "What I inherit is your Zen wisdom, not what's in this book." Vonan replied thoughtfully, "This book has been passed down for 7 generations. It cannot end with me. Take it." Reluctantly, Qing-Tu accepted the book, then threw it into the fire. Vonan, seeing this, was furious and shouted, "What are you doing? What are you saying?" Qing-Tu shouted back. Vonan, realizing his disciple's determination, felt reassured. He knew that Dharma would continue to be passed down, and his disciple would exceed him, spreading the Buddhist teachings brilliantly. The flames danced as the words in the book ascended into the air. Zen wisdom. The waves of the Yangtze River push the previous waves forward. Elders should not impose their will on the younger generation. The younger generation has its own ideas, which may even be better,